What's up, y'all? One Piece One Life here, and guys, chapter 1106 of the manga just came out, and I guess I should get this out of the way. Spoilers. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to click off of this video if you don't want to be spoiled. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm just gonna assume that everyone that's still here either is caught up or doesn't care about being spoiled. So let's go. So at the very end of the last chapter, we saw that the people who destroyed the government ship Saturn sent to sink the scholars wasn't Dragon or Blackbeard pirates or the Grand Fleet. It was Dory and Broggy, the giant warrior pirates. And while that in itself was hype because we've been longing for their reunion with the Straw Hats, there was something said by Dory that was very interesting. When Broggy says, "We're here to pick up Straw Hat," Dory says, or should we call him, the Sun God, which got me thinking, how do the giants know the name of the Sun God? Well, to me, it seems fairly obvious how, if you just reignite an old theory in the One Piece community, and that is that Joyboy is a giant. That's the theory I'm going to be bringing y'all. Joyboy is a giant confirmed. I gotta stress, I am not the first person to say that Joyboy was a giant, but I believe last chapter gave us the key we need to be able to say with about 99.9% confidence that Joyboy was, in fact, a giant. But first, guys, y'all already know what I'm about to say. Like the video, subscribe to the page for more theories just like this, and share it around with all your friends who love One Piece. Let's get it going. Now to start this off, what is the core things that we tend to associate with Joyboy? The giant straw hat. Now, is the hat confirmed to have been Joyboy's? No. Is it a distinct possibility, or even a likelihood, one might say, because it's kept in the deepest, darkest freezer of Mary Joa, guarded by literally Emu himself? There, I'll say yeah. Now, this isn't a hard thing to console the idea with, right? We know that Emu, in some degree, was part of the 20 founders, and Joyboy was on the side that fought the 20 founders, which was the Ancient Kingdom. So obviously, if they're gonna fight, whatever happens, it would make sense that if Emu won, he'll keep some kind of keepsake of him, kind of like a trophy type of thing. Now we're talking about the Ancient Kingdom Alliance. And real quick, I just want to go through all of the races that I think were part of that group. So these would include the giants, obviously, if we're talking about this theory, the fishmen, the minks, probably the sky people, if, they didn't stay in their own realm, the buccaneers, potentially the Lunarians, and at least Zunisha, potentially the other elephants of Zunisha species. But out of all of these allies of Joyboy, there's one group that I want to talk about in particular, and that's the fishmen. Why? Well, because we know that the stories of Joyboy and the fishmen race are intertwined. Literally, the first time we hear Joyboy's name is from the poneglyph on Fishman Island. And according to Robin, who literally has no reason to lie about this because it's literally her life's purpose, the poneglyph says that it's an apology from Joyboy to the fishman race, and more specifically, the mermaid princess of that time. And it's seemingly an apology for failing to be able to raise the Noah. So we can kind of guess out that he tried to raise the Noah somehow, likely using the mermaid princess's power in some way of controlling the Sea Kings to try and bring the Noah up, but for whatever reason failed. We don't really know the reason right now. So already intertwined. But now, have you ever asked, why is the Noah so big? Well, yes, the reason that we're given during the Fishman Island arc is that it's supposed to be a ship big enough to carry the entirety of Fishman Island's population to the surface world. I think that there may be more to it. I think that there's a possibility that it used to be, or at least was for some time, Joyboy's ship. Let me explain. Well, if we take the idea of Joyboy being a giant to be true, then it makes a lot of narrative sense that Joyboy, as a central figure in the Void Century, and very likely the leader of the Ancient Kingdom Alliance, would need a ship that would be able to, carry giants. Now, we know that the Noah was made by the citizens of Fishman Island. However, the wiki goes in express detail to state that its exact purpose and origin is not known. So it's within the realm of possibility that, being allied with Joyboy, the fishmen decided to create the Noah either for him or maybe even at his request. That way, the ship would also be big enough to carry a massive alliance of fighters. Like say, I don't know, how about all of Joyboy's allies that I listed like 30 seconds ago? Now, another big plus for this theory is that it would make the future direction of the story, at least for the near future, pretty clear to us. I mean, just think about it. We know that Joyboy is the one who left the treasure that Roger would eventually find and dub the One Piece. So if Joyboy was a giant, then it just makes a lot of narrative sense that Elbaf would be the next arc, because there should just be a very high likelihood that Joyboy, being a giant, would leave the last road poneglyph on Elbaf. Maybe it wasn't him himself who put it there, but the overarching theme would still be that the home of the giants is probably where the last road poneglyph is. Another theory that people have been speculating. And it's also probably one of the reasons that Shanks is there. While we don't know exactly about what Shanks' current motivations are at the time of this recording, what we do know is that if he's been cool with the giants this entire time, then of course he wouldn't have had to worry about mobilizing till now, because even other emperors like Big Mom and Kaido wouldn't have dared to attack Elbaf, home of the giants, who have multiple times been stated to be the strongest army in the world. So it just effectively made all the emperors in a stalemate, because you had Big Mom having one, Kaido had one, Shanks effectively had one, and then the last one was on Zo. Until Big Mom and Kaido were defeated at the end of Wano, which means that Shanks knew now is the time for us to move, because one of the worst generation members is gonna have enough of the road poneglyph rubbings for us to steal. Which is why he tells Beckman in chapter 1054 that he thinks it's finally time for them to actually make their own claim to the One Piece. Now, one thing people could argue is just that,
oh, Shanks is so strong, a lot of people put Shanks as top 1 or top 2, then why doesn't Shanks just bust in and, go steal them for himself?
To be fair, there would be a tiniest bit of credibility to that, given that that's what Roger did. Except, the thing about Roger is that he's like Luffy. He doesn't really have territories. They have places that they're cool with, places that they're allies with, but they don't have territories in the same way that conventional Yonko do, especially the way that Big Mom, Kaido, and even seemingly Shanks do. Because Shanks has these territories, he can't just raid other people's territories just willy-nilly, because he'll be leaving his territories up for attack, especially from other emperors or the Marines. And also, whether you want to say that he did or he didn't or he tried or whatever, that doesn't affect this theory whatsoever. Now, I know the major plot hole about this theory that people are going to try and bring up.
Well, obviously, Shanks knew all along, so Shanks must be the one who told them about Joyboy and all that.
Citing that Shanks was the first one to know and then told the giants. Here's the thing about that though. We don't know that that's a fact, even though there is powerful evidence for the fact that Shanks knows, such as the entire reason why Who's Who got thrown into Impel Down in the first place. Until proven otherwise, we cannot specifically say that Shanks knew before the giants did. Hear me out on this. I'm saying that Shanks would have known by the time that he did steal it, but he learned it from the giants before. Here's the thing. In order for Shanks to have been the one to have told Dorian Broggy, the entirety of the giant race could have only learned about NIKA within the past 13 years, since that's when Luffy first ate the fruit. Now, I find that highly unlikely for two reasons. One, you would actually need a smaller time frame to account for the time it took for Shanks to enter the New World again and finish his raids and become a Yonko, all things that I believe would have had to happen before he eventually got deep enough into the New World for him to communicate with the giants. And two, we know that even though giants are giants, that doesn't stop them from being oppressed in the world, right? Because we saw giants being a price listed in one of the goods in the auction house. And if there's one thing we know about the One Piece world, it's that the oppressed races of One Piece all know the name of NIKA and have been waiting for him to come back for their liberation. Vegapunk literally said as much in the latest chapter. But you know what would make sense? If the giants knew about it beforehand, because it's literally in their lore, and then they're the ones who told Shanks. Now, a lot of people may be asking, how would that have happened? It's actually very simple. It could have happened when Shanks was an apprentice on the Roger crew. Now, we know that the Roger pirates have been all up and down the Grand Line at least twice. So there is a distinct possibility that in all of their long traveling journeys, they have arrived at Elbaf at least once. And this is especially true if you do believe that the last row poneglyph is on Elbaf, because remember, Roger needed the row poneglyphs to find his way to Laugh Tale. So you could very easily have a moment where the Roger pirates land on Elbaf through some mechanism, I guess just because they're cool people, end up becoming friends with the giants, and then the giants tell the Roger pirates, including Shanks, all about their connections to Joyboy, Joyboy being a giant, and everything like that. And as a bonus, this could also just answer the question of why the giants are so cool with Shanks, because they knew him from when he was a kid and he's always been good to them. Now at the end of the day, guys, a theory is just that, a theory. Headcanon that we piece together with clues and arguments and just have fun with. I've always said that theories are kind of like persuasive essays. Some people you'll convince, some people you won't. But I feel it necessary to reiterate, this doesn't mean that it's 100% to the max level what I agree in, and if anything else happens or if anyone else tries to bring up other points, I'm gonna be mad. No, it doesn't even mean that I can't make another theory that goes completely against this theory, because I have one in the works planned for later down the line that quite literally will. Also, side note, I'm gonna just go ahead and plug the first video I actually made on my channel, which is this theory about the minx, because, you know, I made it as the first video, and now that people are watching more, I kind of just want that one to be put more into the open, since that's the theory I'm most proud of. So yeah, go and watch that. But guys, what do y'all think about the possibilities of Joyboy being a giant? Are you of the belief, as many people are now, that Joyboy was actually a buccaneer? Or do you believe that he's just something completely different? Whatever you feel like, let me know in the comments. That's the end of the video, guys. Now please, it's routine. Like the video, subscribe to the page for more One Piece content just like this, and share it around with all your friends who love One Piece. Remember, I'm trying to make a community, but I need your help to do it. Well, that's gonna be all from me. I'll catch you on the next one, and always remember, One Piece, one life. So the giants have the last row poneglyph because Joyboy wanted to leave it with people of his kind, and that's going to help now point them to the direction of Laugh Tale, and it's going to point his successor of the title of Joyboy. It's all connecting. Now see, I almost said that the stars are aligning, but that made me think of the Elder Stars, and that would be in very poor taste.